what is educating for freedom? And then what are the most significant challenges that you see us facing in higher education to meet that challenge?
Thank you very much. So I'll just say that my path to being on this panel is a little bit unusual compared to what might have been, a predicted path. So I arose from classically liberal thinking about the world, but dedicated my career to being a physician scientist, spent most of my career studying metabolic disease, teaching medical students, and eventually going on to running a major medical school. Throughout all that period, I knew things weren't all perfect, but if someone had said to me 15 years ago there were real threats to academic freedom and to the proper, culture of a university in the world that I lived in, I would have thought that was crazy. And then that changed. In the last 8 years since I stepped down from being the dean of Harvard Medical School, I started thinking more about the threats and seeing some of them even in the medical sphere, which I can briefly mention, but also reaching out more broadly. Got to meet John Haidt, became a board member of the Heterodox Academy, which was addressing these issues in a very direct way. And then more recently, and this has become a major part of my life at the moment, is this new organization called the Council on Academic Freedom at Harvard, which really had its initiation about 2 years ago when about 20 people from Harvard University, faculty, met to discuss what was going on and what they could do about it. I wasn't in that initial group. Steven Pinker was. I reached out to Steven about some other matter, and he said, you should join this group. So there were a series of meetings, and then in April of 2023, just a year and a half ago, the group announced itself with about 50 members. It set its principles related to open inquiry, viewpoint diversity, effective open conversation, things that were previously, no one would question that those would occur at Harvard, but they were starting to become problematic. The group grew over the next year, now has almost 200 members from every school at Harvard, very heavily weighted towards tenured professors in every field, from philosophy to government to medicine to law, et cetera, every school. And it's been working in the background as well as a little bit in the foreground. It's a little bit hard, I can tell you, to get 195 Harvard professors who are all dedicated to academic freedom to agree on what a definition of academic freedom is. So perhaps our most interesting discussion is that we have a private discussion group, listserv, that's been one of the most educational experiences of my life, where people contribute and debate the most powerful and important issues, and they're not afraid to do so, and they do it respectfully, and they don't always agree, which is why we haven't put out too many statements, because we couldn't get an absolute consensus that we would vote on. But we know that we're doing something that we all agree with. We've also been working behind the scenes. We have a group of co-presidents, of which I'm one, and our membership has encouraged us to reach out to university leadership on certain key issues. We did that on institutional neutrality, had meetings with the president, now not interim any longer. We've been working on required diversity statements, and shortly thereafter, the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Sciences announced they would not do this any longer. And there are 4 or 5 other issues on which we are working right now. And I'll just say the key attribute of this group is that a lot of people know that there is a group like this of serious people across the disciplines of scholarship who agree that there's a problem, and they will not allow things to just go on the way they were going on. So, and then I'll just make one last comment, which is that most of what I focused on over recent years were problems going on at the college in the humanities and some of the social sciences, where it was very hard to be able to speak up against the standard narrative, whatever you want to describe that as being. And that continues to be a problem that is being recognized and addressed. But now I'm much more concerned as well over what I'm seeing in the medical sphere. That's another whole thing. You're going to see a lot more written about this. But in a number of areas that used to just be standard areas of medical science, there is becoming embedded in the curriculum and driven by various administrative groupings and activist students. There are certain views of medicine that are, in my view, wrong, unjustified, not valid in any way, and yet they are being taken up as part of the curriculum, not only at Harvard Medical School, but elsewhere. And if you ask, as I have, of various students who have come to me, they are fearful of speaking, and faculty are fearful of speaking. So this is a new realm of action for higher education that I wouldn't have anticipated, that in the hard sciences, not the hardest of hard sciences, I'm not sure whether this is in the world of physics yet, but in medical science, it is a real issue, and we need to unite across the university to address that issue.